My daughter has an attachment. A month ago, I had a Filipino clairvoyant come to my house as there were unexplainable things going on. In March, on our way to school, my daughter felt a burning sensation on her arm. She pulled her sweatshirt up to reveal 3 to 4 sets of red welts in 3 inches on her forearm. My daughter has been a chronic nail biter since she had an upper and lower set of teeth and chews them until they sometimes bleed. No pets to scratch her in her room as they are trained to stay downstairs. I took pictures because it just didn't look right. A few weeks prior, my SO said there was something in our basement that just felt heavy. He felt something down there. It stayed in the corner area of a room next to the laundry area. My dog will go lay in that very spot. Lights would be on after I knew personally I shut them off, and my SO would go down as well, only to come back upstairs, and I'd see the lights shining through the air return vents in the basement. Our 2 dogs that stay downstairs would go apeshit for no reason constantly. I came home to a busted window. It was broken into a perfect circle. The glass should have fallen inside the window, but instead, it fell onto the patio. The break had to come from an outside force because the inner pane was never touched. Mind you, I'm 44 years old, Native American, and my belief of the paranormal differs from other cultures. I'm not some kind of nutcase, but things were getting strange. I was having no experiences and felt nothing in the house. Come May, we were working in the yard, cleaning limbs and branches from our 4.5-acre wooded land. There are a lot of trees on this property and a lot of yard work consistently. My SO decided to light a burn pile of the mile-high limbs and sticks. He added a little gasoline to help ignite it and get it started. He is a fireman and has been so for almost 2 decades, so this is not his first time starting a controlled burn. He lit the fire and it backdrafted. He burned his entire body. His shorts were melted to his skin and his body hair was burned off. He came into the house smelling of burnt hair and flesh. I had him get into the shower to stop him from burning any further, then sent him to the ER. He blistered so bad a few days later. The pile never burned and has since grown green grass around it. He hit a shovel in the middle of our yard while mowing one day. It bent the mower blade on a commercial-grade tractor at almost a 90-degree angle and threw the shovel head 20 feet or so. We have no idea how the shovel ended up in the middle of our yard. My daughter has a walk-in closet. There are scratches on the inside of her door at the bottom. Her closet door is always shut unless she's in it picking out clothing. I am a divorcee, so my daughter is with her dad 50% of the time and with me 50%. She is not always here. The day that the clairvoyant came to our home, she knew as soon as she pulled into our driveway that there was something here. She picked up on multiple spirits and advised us our land was a playground for the dead. She advised us that a 20-year-old male was attached to my 16-year-old daughter. He would scratch her and sit on her at night while she slept to get her attention. It watches her sleep as well. She complained for weeks that her back hurt. Now we know why. This entity is infatuated with my daughter and has never attached itself to another human being in its existence. My daughter is the first. It follows her off of the property and is with her wherever she goes. It's not evil, but we are told it is protecting her in some creepy way. The basement is another story. The clairvoyant would not go down there at all. She was petrified. She said that whatever is down there is strong enough to kill her. She threw holy water down the steps and onto the floor, but would not go down the steps. The entity that is attached to my daughter will only listen to her and no one else. Trust me, I gave it a piece of my mind telling it to leave my daughter alone, and if it was there to protect her, it would respect her and not watch her sleep or sit on her. The clairvoyant said my voice carries no weight to this entity. We cannot force it to leave, but slowly my daughter needs to break its attachment to her. This is going to be a slow process. The things in our yard, The fire, the shovel, the broken window are no accident. The spirits here do not want us doing anything in the yard, as they live in the trees and the trails in our woods. The spirit attached to my daughter lives in the biggest tree on our property. It sits in front of my daughter's second-story bedroom window. The broken window was something trying to get in, but couldn't because we do not fool with the paranormal. The spirits will not mess with me as they see me as a protector, mainly because of my Native American heritage. Anytime we work in the yard, we have to tell the spirits we are beautifying and not destroying, because my SO was almost killed trying to do nothing more than mow and make the yard nice. We were told the spirit's intentions were to hurt him or worse. We leased this home and thank God we do. Our lease is almost up. We will be moving in just a few months. However, the owner of this home plans on moving up from Arizona when he retires and plans on living here in May of 2020. We were told that this man will have a dangerous and unpleasant life here. The spirits will punish him for our leaving as they will feel it's forced by him. We have told the spirits that we will be leaving as to help break the attachment to my daughter. The clairvoyant foresees him dying in this house. The attachment to my daughter will be responsible for his unpleasant stay here. It is going to channel its energy into my landlord and make him feel all the grief and sorrow this entity is going to feel when my daughter leaves. The clairvoyant described it as the hurt of a lovesick boy with his first broken heart. This will throw our landlord into the darkest and deepest depression. This has been a lot for us to take in and digest. My daughter didn't sleep in her room for days. The TV was switched on constantly and there was always noise of some kind to help distract her. We've shed many tears letting this all sink in. You guys, there's more, but this post is long enough. If you want to know the rest, I will tell you. I'm not an attention whore looking for likes or comments, but this post is way too long. If you want to hear the end, I'll post it, but if not, I'll just leave it as it stands. When you go out in the woods. Okay, I'm literally only posting this because I think this is a weird thing that happened, and I want to know if anyone knows of any stories about hearing bells in the woods. Yeah, you heard that right, bells in the woods. Okay, let me back up. I work an outside type of job. On this particular day, we were finishing up in this one section of woods. I don't know why, but this one was exceptionally creepy to me. It had nothing to do with the burned out trees or the remoteness of our location. I had been dealing with that all week, and it never bothered me then or since working in this area. Anyways, this day I was somewhat away from my coworker. There were only the two of us out there. We started at about 2:30 p.m. and it was now around 3. My coworker and I were sitting down by this pond, taking notes and talking. Then, out of nowhere, we hear the sound of sticks breaking in the tree line to our left. It creeped me out because I was already creeped out, but I was trying to be rational. It's just a deer or an elk. It's nothing to be concerned about, or so I tried to tell myself. But I just couldn't shake that feeling, and now, since hearing that, it felt even more ominous. Of course, my mind could have been hyping it up more than it was. However, I kept hearing whatever this was circling the tree line around us. What was weird about this is that while I kept hearing the sounds of sticks breaking, my coworker heard nothing. At this point, whatever it was absolutely watching us, and I wanted no part of that. I was ready to get the F out, but my coworker kept insisting I was being paranoid. Whatever. As soon as I could, I got back in the vehicle. Too bad we couldn't leave yet. We still had more recon to do. So, we drive a little further up the road, and soon we got to a point where our vehicle just won't take us any further. Shoe Leather Express it is. We walked about a quarter mile of the way up the road, and at this point, my skin felt like it was crawling. All the hairs on my body were standing on end, and I was over it. I trust my instincts, and paranormal or not, something just wasn't right. I moved us along as quickly as possible, and thankfully, my coworker finally relented, and we headed back towards our vehicle. My coworker was walking a little bit ahead of me when I first started hearing it. Chimes, way off in the distance like small bells. I strained my hearing, not quite believing that was what was happening. Could it be my keys? No, those were in my bag. My coworker's keys? No, also in their bag. Didn't have anything metallic and loose either. As these thoughts ran through my head, I kept hearing those damn bells. At one point, I even asked my coworker if they heard anything and par for the cause. No, they actually didn't. I heard those chimes all the way down to our vehicle, and boy, was I glad to be out of there. Now, here's where it gets interesting. So, a few days later, our boss comes out with us to finish up some other work further up the road. Mind you, we can't drive it on this road. It's basically impossible in a truck with 4x4, and especially not in a passenger car. Again, shoe leather express it is. So, we are finished up for the day and walking back down the road. We are now 75 miles just above where my coworker and I had stopped the first time. All three of us, and I do mean all three of us at the same time, heard the sound of a vehicle engine, like someone was driving towards us. We know this is completely impossible because the road is impassable. Not only that, but the nearest road is through a dense wooded area, down a ridge line. I mean, you get the idea. It wasn't anywhere close to where we were, but we all heard it, and all of us reacted to it at the same time by stepping off the road instinctively to give right of way. We stood there for a good 5 minutes and never saw a vehicle. We tried to laugh it off, but even my coworker, who was a skeptic, seemed put off by this. It's the end of the day, we are tired, and we are like, okay, yeah, that was weird, but it's fine. We're almost done. Let's just get back to the vehicle and get out of here. Well, here's where it gets even weirder. We came down into the flat wooded pond area where my coworker and I had been working previously. My boss and I are walking more or less in step. Coworker is just ahead of us. My boss and I had been talking, and all of a sudden, they grab my arm, scream and duck. Now, let me tell you, when I tell you I jumped, I about came out of my skin. I whipped my head around, thinking there might be a predator, but nada. Concerned, I asked my boss if they're okay. Shaken up, clearly, my boss says they're fine. I'm doubtful, but I let it go. Then, from up ahead, I hear my coworker say, "Whoa, that's scary." And I'm thinking, great, what else can possibly be any weirder out here? The pond which we'd been at just a few days before is now a sickly red color. Completely natural, probably just an algae bloom, but it still freaked me out combined with everything else. I was like, last straw, I'm done, let's go home. We all get to the vehicle. My boss and I are waiting for my coworker to come back after answering nature's call. I asked again if they're okay, like what happened earlier, because I've never seen them react like that to anything before. They look at me dead in the eyes and say, "It felt like something flew at the back of my head, like something was thrown at the back of my head." I believe them because no one reacts like that without some outside stimulus causing it. Oh no, I don't think it was a bug or a bird because I was walking right beside them, and 1, saw nothing, 2, felt nothing. If there was a bug, it would have had flown by me, and if it were a bird, likewise. I would have seen it going in some direction away from us at the very least. Also, if it was a bug, my boss wouldn't have reacted like that. They're the type of person that thinks bugs are cute, so no, definitely wouldn't be that strong of a reaction, even if it was unexpected. Needless to say, I hate that section of the woods. It's absolutely freaking creepy, even if none of this is paranormal, which, the pond thing, while weird, is definitely natural causes. Everything else, I don't know. I mean, I know sound carries strange in the woods and mountains, but the thing I can explain is what happened to my boss. Also, the bells. What is up with the bells? I've lived all my life in the woods and I have never, not once, heard anything that sounded like that. Last thing I forgot to mention, my boss told me that the whole way down they kept hearing whistling. Which is odd because there were no birds making that type of sound and all of us were talking, not whistling. I totally believed them because I also heard something strange, but I don't know, we could have all been tripping hard on the smoke haze. I would like to hear people's thoughts, especially about the bells.